Welcome into the Fools On Stools podcast. My name is Cullen Brown, and as always, I am joined by my co-host Anthony Council and Kevin Walker. Today is Wednesday, August 24th, 2022, episode 34 of the Fools On Stools podcast. Hopefully y'all are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen in. We've got a lot to talk about today, including everything happening in preseason football, contract talks with Lamar Jackson, and, of course, college football getting away with Week 0 coming up this weekend. And MLB owners planning to sell their team. Fernando Tatis gets suspended for 80 games. Formula One returns with 3 back-to-back weekends, with the first coming in Belgium this week. And, of course, everything happened in the association with Kevin Durant, Chet Holmgren, and, of course, even a little EuroLeague action. Boys, it's been a while. How are y'all doing?
Doing pretty well. Anthony, how about you?
We're getting to talk about sports all day.
Best feeling. Best feeling.
It doesn't get better than that, guys. It really doesn't. It's been a minute. But summer is over, and we back. Especially preseason's back. And there's been a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's been crazy.
Very much
There's been
so.
a lot going on.
Absolutely. Without any further ado, do you want to jump right into it?
Let's dive in.
All right. So far we are approaching the third week and the final week of the NFL preseason, right before we get to the games that actually matter, as they like to say in the NFL. But there's plenty of storylines that we got to get into.
I mean, preseason matters, just a little bit. I mean, you got to see what you see.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Well,
And this is a great time for guys that may be on the roster bubble to make a name for themselves and make it on the roster, like Dallas Cowboys USFL former league MVP Kevontae Turpin.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, electric. I mean, I know everybody saw that he returned the 98-yard kick return touchdown and then returned an 86-yard punt return for a touchdown. I don't think many people know, though, because it is preseason, so I don't know who all really watched, but he made that return off of he only touched the ball twice that night, or 3 times that night. He had a carry as well for 7 yards, but he didn't drop the ball. Every return he had was a touchdown. He had 1 kick return touchdown and 1 punt return touchdown, and that's all he had. They were like, hey, we got this guy. We don't need to see anything else. He's electric. And it's not like he was doing it later in the game. Doesn't really matter. This was all done before halftime.
Yeah, against guys that are probably going to be playing on
Oh,
Sundays.
yeah.
Not like just watching from the sidelines
No.
and everything.
No, yeah, for sure. Horned Frog for life for him.
Yep. Former TCU product.
Absolutely. And the one thing about the Cowboys is, a lot of people were they weren't upset, but there were some mixed reactions after our draft, with our first rounder, But something about the Cowboys that I've always loved is that we always find those diamonds, in the rough, and they're always so shiny. And whenever preseason comes, they just show out and show up every single time.
Yeah.
And that's what Turpin did.
Yeah, but it wasn't really no diamond in the rough. He was the USFL MVP, for crying out loud.
Formerly of the New Jersey Generals.
Yeah, he absolutely demolished it. Has some problems in TCU, played for 4 different leagues, worked his way back up to the NFL, signed a 3-year deal with the Cowboys.
Yeah, he was a part of that fan control league.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He was bounced around a little bit, but he's back in the NFL, and it looks like even Mike McCarthy said he's going to be catching some returns from when it goes to the game in Tampa Bay.
The value of a great returner is so underrated in today's game because, obviously, you don't see Devin Hester just walking out of college being going to make an impact. So if you get a guy like this, not only does he, again, he's going to return something this year, barring his health and knocking on wood for him.
Of course.
He's going to have, I think, 1 either punt or kick return touchdown. It takes pressure off of anybody else having to, fill that spot. And even if he doesn't, just getting those extra 5, 10, 20 yards can be, 1 less first down that the Cowboys offense has to get before they're even in field goal range and much less, getting touchdowns. So I do think this is going to be big for them. He's not a big guy, is he?
No.
5'7".
Yeah, 165 pounds.
Yeah, my height.
Me and you both right now.
Yeah. So,
maybe a different weight, though.
But there is a
little
distinct difference between me, you, and him.
Oh, yeah.
And that is his electric speed and moves. Boy, you look at him. He catches that ball and he's gone.
Yeah.
Spin move, speed, lateral movement. He's got it all.
Oh, yeah. No, I'd be strictly a touchback.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
It'd be a risky just to see if I can even catch the ball.
Yeah. But, honestly, for the Cowboys, this is something that, in terms of just a weapon, he has talent, obviously, at the wide receiver position, being a former league MVP of the USFL. He probably will be a gadget guy at first because I don't think he's quite at the level of like an NFL wide receiver, like an every down,
right,
running routes and everything.
And that's fine.
But definitely, like, again, jet sweeps, little reverses,
Absolutely.
kick return, punt return.
Absolutely.
He could definitely be a gadget guy that could maybe spark the Cowboys offense if they get a little stagnant. So I think this is a huge underrated pickup for the Dallas Cowboys.
And not only that, but you think about it, we always talk about having oh my God, name just blank. Tony Pollard. Sorry, good
Man,
gracious.
he had a brain fart.
Got so much going on in my head today. It's a lot of football. We always talk about having Tony Pollard, and the Cowboys have talked about him all this year. Running back, wide receiver, flex, everywhere. He's all over the field. But if you can have Kevontae Turpin returning kicks and returning punts, and you can keep Tony Pollard rested just a little bit more,
right?
That's even more electric plays on the offense, and it's momentum, and it's everything that the Cowboys need, especially on special teams.
Yeah, it's going to be dangerous, man. It's going to be dangerous. That first game against Tampa is going to be very exciting at home because, I wouldn't be surprised if the first play is Turpin running for a touchdown.
That would be absolutely insane.
I'm going to do my NFL season predictions. I always do them every year. Like, I release them the Thursday of the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Every year. Dallas has got a sneaky game against Tampa Bay with all the injuries they've dealt with in the offseason, with Tom Brady going on a weird,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, a little hiatus. It could be an interesting one for Dallas. But there are some other teams that we got to get to in the NFL preseason, including a little quarterback battle happening in Pittsburgh between Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky, and, of course, the only quarterback drafted in the first round this past draft, Kenny Pickett.
Is it a battle? Is it really a battle?
I don't know. I think I've heard the saying Pittsburgh Steelers, as in Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I like that.
I think playing the hometown kid would really help this franchise. Obviously losing future Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger, and just losing Juju, having different things happen in the program. How Mike Tomlin continues to have no losing season absolutely baffles me. But you have Najee Harris in the backfield. So all things are well as far as that goes, and you do have receivers. I think you throw Kenny Pickett out there week 1, see what he's worth, see what he's about, and maybe try to shop one of the other quarterbacks, whether it be Mitchell Trubisky or Mason Rudolph. But I think if you're doing what the fans want and what honestly would be best for the program, in my opinion, I think you throw Kenny Pickett out there week 1 and see what he's about.
To add on to that point, Kevin, because I do agree with your point, I do believe Kenny Pickett should be the starter. One rumored tweet that I saw, and again, speculation, it's not officially confirmed yet, but they're saying if the Pittsburgh Steelers actually do decide to go with Kenny Pickett, they would potentially look to trade Mitchell Trubisky to the Giants, because last year Brian Daboll was the OC.
Be perfect, yeah.
Would be the OC.
I think I saw that.
They would have familiarity with the system. It could be something, especially if Daniel Jones doesn't get off to the best start this year, that they have somebody else to go to, but that's beside the point. Agreeing with your point that I do believe Kenny Pickett should be the starter. Let's be frank. We talked about this before the show, a little off air. This quarterback class for college football coming up after this season, it's going to be loaded. Like, there's potentially up to 6 guys going in the first round.
Yeah.
And if you're Pittsburgh, right, you're in a division with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, whenever he gets obviously his situation figured out, and going forward, obviously, after this year.
Of course.
So you need to figure out if Kenny Pickett can be the guy that can let you hang with those 3 giant, absolute behemoths of quarterbacks. And the only way you're going to do it is giving him the full reign. Now, I understand that their offensive line, they haven't seemed to get quite where they wanted to. They've been really trying some things, plugging and playing different players. They also have some retirements and, people getting old and that this, that, and the other. I still believe you gotta throw Kenny out there. You gotta see if he's gonna be the real guy that you can for sure lead yourself into the future for.
Yeah, I mean, truly let it be a quarterback battle. Throw Mitch out there, then throw Kenny out there. See what happens. I mean, what do you have to lose? You do want to find out do I have a guy or not going into this draft that's coming up this upcoming year.
Yeah, because the quarterback class in the AFC North is Deshaun Watson, possibly Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. Like, that's.
Yes, thank you for echoing me, Anthony.
I know. I know. I just wanted to reiterate it because it's just like it's big, like it's huge, because it's like,
yeah,
like, bro, like,
yeah.
And the reason why I reiterated it is because, what do you guys think? And I just want to hear y'all's prediction. Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season in years.
Mm-hmm.
Never has.
Do you guys think he's going to have one this year?
I think at this point he's done so. I don't even, like I said before, it absolutely baffles me that he hasn't had one yet. I just see some way they scrap together a 9-8 season, or just somehow. I don't think he does.
I don't want to give away too much because, like I said, I am going to be releasing those predictions of everything, but it's going to be close for sure.
So that's a lot of talent in the AFC North.
Yeah, it is, and it's something that, again, they just need to figure out the answer. The quicker you can figure it out, the quicker you can get him off your books, and the quicker that you can see if he is the legit quarterback for this franchise.
Because, I mean, it's going to be I'm guessing it's going to be easy win against the Lions for the last game of preseason. And then if you're taking him at quarterback, you're taking him against the Bengals, who has Joe Burrow.
I get it.
On the other side.
Let's see
with
what
that Bengals defense. I'm just saying.
Let's see what the kid can do.
I'm just saying. And then the next week, and this is the last thing, next week you're playing the Patriots.
Well, the Patriots don't look like they're all that much put together, so we'll see what happens.
It might actually not be too bad, yeah.
It's the if you got Bill Belichick on the other side.
Yeah, no, listen, defense I'm sure will show up, but we'll see. We'll see what they look like this year. Speaking of that, Kevin, you did bring this up. So we've had obviously some look and reports of the New England Patriots. Their offense not looking up to par. They obviously don't have an official, or I wouldn't say an official. They don't have like a
they don't have a fullback.
Well, they don't have an offensive coordinator.
Yes, that's true.
And again, the spending of pass catchers by the New England Patriots, including wide receivers and tight ends, is by far the most in the league. And yet the only things they really have to show for it are Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. I think Devontae Parker's on the team, Jacoby Myers. Definitely not an overwhelming group when you look at some of the other units. And Mac Jones is in year 2 with no OC, a lackluster group of weapons. And the Patriots haven't looked good in practice. Like a lot of, especially like the scrimmages against each other, against other teams, they've looked really subpar from all the reports.
And like you said, reports, even like Patriots inside beat reporters have said this is kind of a frantic time. Everybody's kind of looking around like, is Bill really going to be able to pull this together? Because obviously it's Bill Belichick. He's not going to say anything. He's not going to release any information. He's not going to give any team the upper hand. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the team that they scrimmaged against was the Raiders.
Yes.
AKA,
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels. So a lot of comfortability there. So have they really even seen anything that they're not used to yet is kind of the question. I mean, I don't really know what the Patriots are going to do, what they're going to look like. I bet against Tom Brady I've lost, and I'm not going to bet against Bill Belichick, but it kind of looks like they're going to have a very rocky season.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be up and down, but when you have, like I said, Bill Belichick is going to be able to rally the troops. And, yes, Mac Jones is going to have some bumps in the road, but I think he'll be fine. Now, they do got to find an offensive coordinator as fast as they possibly can because preseason's almost over.
Well, apparently they're comfortable with just, Judge and Patricia?
They're saying Matt Patricia is the play caller, but not necessarily the offensive coordinator per se.
He's just the one actually calling the plays. The guy that still holds a pencil in his ear with a laminated piece of paper.
Yeah.
But he's not the offensive coordinator.
That's the same. Okay. That's where you're going with Bill? Okay.
I mean, it's an interesting situation, but it's Bill Belichick. How are you going to tell one of the possible greatest coaches of all time what to do? So
it's absolutely. Last thing before, not the last thing, but just I wanted to talk about some rising stars because obviously we talked about Kevontae Turpin. Mm-hmm. There's been some other guys that have been showing out this preseason. One of whom was Green Bay wide receiver.
I know Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, Romeo Dobbs.
Josh
Dobbs is the quarterback.
Yes. Sorry.
He plays in Cleveland. Romeo Dobbs.
Got ahead of myself.
Has been flashing. He caught 3 passes for 45 and a touchdown last week, and then recorded 3 receptions for 24 yards and another touchdown Friday night. Also, Dameon Pierce, running back for the Houston Texans, has gotten the support of head coach Lovie Smith to be potentially the team's lead running back going into the season. Is there anybody else that you guys really like to put your emphasis on, or what do you think of those 2 guys for so far?
Number 1, right off the bat, Sky Moore in Kansas City. An absolute steal that they got over there. I don't know if he's going to make the starting 3 just because they do already have Juju, and I know he's kind of got a lingering, issue going on right now. But and you got some guys over there, but don't be surprised if he gets some playtime if he doesn't use that playtime to make some legitimate plays. They're saying he's athletic. He's making plays. He's already understood the offense. I think Sky Moore could really be some guy in the future.
I would say is he Central Michigan? He's either Western or Central Michigan. I think.
I can look it up for you. I don't remember off the top of my head.
But yeah, he he's looked great. I've also echoed those sentiments from camp because obviously, I mean, with Travis Kelce being the clear number one, they brought in Juju, they brought in MVS.
Mm-hmm.
We'll he's gonna have to wait and be patient with in terms of getting targets from Pat. But yeah, he's definitely somebody that could potentially take the top off the defense for sure.
Yeah.
And another one, if I may throw out one more, one that a lot of people, especially the Twitter space, clowned on a lot. George Pickens in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
You want to? I mean, I know we were just talking about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They're saying he's a guy, and I know everybody was making fun of him. Yeah,
he's him.
They're saying that. I know they're saying that they were making fun of him, and everybody was. All the jokes are going away right now because they're saying he's making plays, and he is him.
The Steelers, well, they just churn out wide receivers.
Oh yeah, they do.
And the amount of videos that I got sent of him just bullying our second year or rookie corner, Kobe Bryant. On the block play where he just looks at him and basically shoves him to the ground. Kobe wasn't apparently expecting to be blocked on that play. But, yeah, George Pickens definitely looks like a force in the league. He caught a really nice in-the-corner touchdown in that game.
Yeah.
He looks physical from the University of Georgia. And, he should be good for Pittsburgh. But, of course, I mean, it's a Pittsburgh wide receiver. Do you expect anything else? Anthony, who do you got, brother?
For me, I'm not going to lie. I just want to shout out the Bills. They're just scary, man. Like, the fact that they're blowing teams out in preseason, like, that's ridiculous. You saw the game against the Broncos. They obliterated them.
It shows their depth, man.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, like, everybody needs to watch out for the Bills, especially KC.
Yeah.
Because and especially if Patrick Mahomes doesn't have Tyreek Hill and Juju ain't the answer for him, the Bills, they remember that game.
Listen, the Bills... I know that because the result was that the Kansas City Chiefs won in overtime. The Bills didn't lose that game. The Bills didn't get a chance to get the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And they know that. They know that for a fact. And they didn't even waste any time. They brought back, if not all, majority of their guys, added Von Miller in the offseason, which I think a lot of people are actually kind of forgetting that Von Miller is on this squad already.
Yeah, two-time Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Von Miller. Yep.
And not just for like 1 year deal, like he is. I've correct me if I'm wrong, like a 3-year deal, right? I mean, he's there for a good amount of time.
Yeah, no, it was a multi-year deal. Big money guaranteed. I think he's looking to, potentially make some more Super Bowl runs. He's even tried to recruit OBJ.
Oh, dude, if they got OBJ in dude, that'd be nasty. But not, and to even furthermore to reiterate on the Bills' defense. They didn't have Tre'Davious White. I think they're probably their best corner, probably easy top 10 corner in the league when healthy.
Right.
They lost him during like the Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
They lost him. If they have him fully healthy this year, dude,
it's over.
I mean, I know why the Bills are the Super Bowl favorites, and I believe we've talked off air. It would be really cool to see them finally get one. They deserve it. Josh Allen is that guy. I mean, they're a lovable team, but that AFC is stacked. I know Patrick Mahomes don't have Tyreek Hill, but when you have Patrick Mahomes, dude, you just kind of hold on and see what happens because he can make plays, and then you have Bengals, but Bengals are kind of looking a little rocky. Joe Burrow missing some time, but
yeah, that's true.
But then, and one team that not a lot of people are really talking about that they really should. And this is kind of gonna be my saying throughout the year, depending on how I think the freaking Las Vegas Raiders are gonna kill it this year.
Okay.
I think with Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, not only is
fourth best quarterback in his own division, but
that's cool.
You can, and that's
cool.
fine. It's fine. You can be the fourth best quarterback in your division when you have Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams,
right,
and Josh Jacobs.
Yep. Cool.
And a pretty good O-line.
It's pretty nice, bro.
Yeah, Leatherwood's been struggling in camp, but besides the point.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I think that things are looking up in Las Vegas. Almost at Oakland. Las Vegas.
Yeah, we love you, Oakland, but unfortunately they're not theirs anymore.
Yeah, we'll see how Derek Carr does.
We'll see.
Maybe he'll be the same exact quarterback as he was last year.
Maybe. And to be honest, look, Derek Carr had a really great year last year. Dealing with all the injuries, dealing with all the turmoil of John Gruden, obviously dealing with Henry Ruggs and all that.
Took a lot of leadership last year. Big role.
Because how many playoff wins has he had?
Well, they got to the playoffs on an
I'm
absolute.
about to say it's 0.
It's zero.
It's
a
0.
donut.
It is 0.
Really?
Yeah, but hey, listen, everything could change.
Opportunities have presented themselves now, so we'll see what happens.
Matthew Stafford entering last year had 0.
4th best quarterback in his division. That's all I gotta say.
But that's
You may have the number 1 wide
But
receiver.
you're making that sound like it's like the NFC East. We're talking about one of the most stacked divisions in football right now.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just saying, I love the Las Vegas optimism, but they've got a massive division ahead of them. That's
I'm sorry.
arguably the best division in NFL history.
I'm not a betting
huge.
man, and I said this on the previous podcast that we did on Monday. I am not betting money on the Raiders. I do not care.
He did say this.
You had Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and I get it, like completely different. But, bro, no.
Yep. I get it.
I'm not.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, there's a certain quarterback in the NFL right now who's looking to get paid. We've talked about him before on this podcast, but he has now set a deadline. We're talking about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are reportedly facing a really big uphill battle to get a deal done by the Week 1 deadline set by Lamar Jackson. Lamar is looking apparently for a fully guaranteed deal, similar to Deshaun Watson. Kyler Murray recently became the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL annually at $46.1 million. Aaron Rodgers obviously being the first at $50.3. So we would have to assume roughly it's going to be somewhere in that $1 million range, probably a 5-year deal, probably looking at, 230, 240, 250. It's going to be interesting to see if and what the deal looks like when it gets done. But what are y'all's thoughts on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens contract situation?
I think it's interesting, but just because, and I said this off air, if Lamar Jackson gets what we think he's going to get, and whether it be fully guaranteed or just a massive deal, whatever, I think it would be the biggest and most significant contract in NFL history that has ever been negotiated by no agent, just the player himself and whoever he has represented, whether it be his mom or his family member or whatever. And some people don't like that there's no agent. Some people love that there's no agent. There's opposing views on each side. But one thing is very clear and has been everybody knows that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have an incredible relationship. He loves his head coach. They have planned their entire team and offense around him. So they have all full intentions on then signing him. I don't have any doubt that they'll get it done. I think you're not going to get as much guaranteed as Deshaun Watson because the Browns completely messed up that market.
You want to talk about messing up the market?
Yeah, no kidding. But I think he'll get more, just not as much guaranteed, and he'll probably be a top 4 as far as quarterbacks getting paid in each year.
Oh no, he's gonna surpass Kyler.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Kyler doesn't have a league MVP like Lamar does. Lamar's been to the playoffs more than. Kyler Murray
you said
has.
Aaron Rodgers gets $50 million a year.
50.3.
So I don't think he'll get $50 million.
I think he'll be the new number 2. I would assume, like I said, around 48, maybe 48.5. 5-year, probably looking at whatever that is money wise, like 240-ish roughly.
Yeah.
Listen, Kevin, you nailed it right on the head. They have all the leverage. Like, they completely turn this whole offense, their whole team, based around Lamar Jackson. Lamar, he's such a unique player. I mean, we've talked about it, on previous episodes, so I don't want to dive in too much again about how unique he is. But you can't just sit there and be like, all right, listen, we're going to move in a new direction, expect to be, just plug and play some other guy.
You have to wipe clean.
Yeah, because, again, Lamar's going to get his money. I believe so. I believe the Ravens are going to pay him. Whether it's fully guaranteed, we'll see. But Lamar definitely has the leverage in these negotiations. And the Ravens, listen, they dealt with an absurdity of injuries last year.
Yeah.
They were the team. Marcus Peters went down. They had a defensive tackle that went down. J.K. Dobbins went down.
Running backs, all 2 or 3 running backs went down.
Yeah.
It was a tough year.
And it was uncharacteristic. And this year they're looking to see if they can battle again for another division crown, potentially the playoffs again. And they need Lamar at the forefront. And they need to make sure that he's on board. Now he's been completely supportive and he's been, negotiating in good faith. Obviously him and his family member who he negotiates with. But, yeah, this is going to be very interesting because as the time gets closer, the longer the deal isn't done, the more Ravens fans are going to sweat.
Yep, and I also think that I'm happy that they're giving the running quarterback who is kind of accurate at passing money. That's great. I'm happy. It's awesome.
Are we catching Lamar Jackson slander right now?
Yes, very much so.
Wow.
I love Lamar Jackson. He deserves his money, absolutely. And yes, last year they had a lot of injuries. I'm not taking that away from them. I get it. Injuries happen. It's football.
Yeah.
Hello, but I just want you to show up in the playoffs.
I get it. Hey,
That's it. That's all.
That's fine.
If everyone is healthy,
Yeah.
do you think they're still going to win the division?
I think they have a damn good shot at winning it. Again, I don't want to spoil it because you keep asking me
know.
these questions. You're
I
trying
know.
to get me to debate it.
I'm not, but I'm just saying because
They absolutely have a shot.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.
because like you said, their offense is ran around him, completely ran around him.
Yep.
But as time goes on and the ticker starts ticking and you don't see results that you're wanting, especially getting back to a Super Bowl after you won one years ago, and that's the goal. If you ain't seeing results,
Yeah.
hey,
I mean, listen, I agree. That's the one thing on his resume that he needs to check off. He got his first playoff win the last time he was in the playoffs. Now, obviously, last year happened and he wasn't in the playoffs.
and I'm not taking that away.
But I laid out my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He's a top 10 quarterback to me. I think I had him ninth, Kevin, because it was an episode that you weren't here.
Yeah.
When you have a top 10 guy like that, when you have something or somebody that provides something that nobody else or rarely few people can provide you in the NFL, you sign him. Seattle. But anyways, when you have a top 10 quarterback, especially, you understand what you're getting into, because when you don't have a top 10 guy, you're sitting there, you're praying that everything falls right, that you don't have the injury luck and everything. You have less room for error. When you have a guy that's this level in the most important position of the NFL, you have to sign him. And that's why I think Lamar really holds a lot of the leverage. And it wouldn't shock me if he gets a bigger size Deshaun Watson deal. Criticism is fair, Anthony. I'm just saying you make sure you pay him.
I'm not trying to hate on him at all. Right. My thing is just and I love that he's betting on himself. I think that is the new wave of the game right now, of betting on yourself, because
works for Dak. Yeah.
I mean, if you don't bet on yourself, then who you gonna bet on?
That's the thing. I didn't have Dak in my top 10. You still got to pay him. Dak is that borderline. Again, some people would argue top 10, whatever. Dak Prescott, Derek Carr that we just talked about, any of those guys that are the upper echelon, you have to pay them.
You're top 15.
Yeah, I wouldn't go probably top 12.
Top 12. Okay,
12.
that's reasonable. But not only that, but
because when you get to top 15, then you bring up Kirk Cousins, and I'm no, I'm not trying to pay that. I'm not trying to pay that.
I mean this in no slander, and I'll get back onto what I was going to talk about. But Kirk Cousins is the average of NFL quarterbacks.
He gets the job done. He can run your offense, but if you ask him to do anything else,
hey, look, as long as he gets the job done. Don't ask him to do any more, please.
Yeah, absolutely. But going back to the Lamar Jackson conversation, Lamar Jackson's only 24 years old, and it's being reported that he bulked a whole 18 pounds worth of muscle this offseason. So it's not like he's just kind of, staying the same or riding even. He is getting better year by year.
Oh, he's committed.
And there's no telling what he's doing off the field. Whether if that's a numerous hours of film study, Kyler Murray, or it's, obviously working out, bulking up, whether if he's getting faster, learning the offense. Lamar Jackson is fully invested. I think the Ravens are. This still is going to get done. I don't see it going any other way. I think it's just whether if it's going to be more guaranteed money or just more money, less guarantee.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But, like the saying goes, talk is cheap. Talk is the cheapest thing you got, but sometimes it's the only thing you can stand on to.
I get you. And we'll wait to see. Obviously, I want to see Lamar reach the absolute pinnacle of what he could reach. And Anthony, your criticisms are fair, so we'll see if maybe he answers them this weekend. Obviously he's listening to the show, so he's gonna have it kind of written in his locker somewhere.
Hello.
Your name's gonna they're gonna do the reporter thing in the locker room, and your name's just gonna be plastered up on there. Anthony, with your quote.
I'm the hot taker.
He's gonna have some wrist tape on him, and it's gonna have your quote on you, and he's gonna use it as motivation.
Yeah, it's not even a play sheet; just gonna be your quote.
Ant said this.
Oh my goodness, yeah. But we've got some other football to talk about, but it's not necessarily the NFL. It's college football season, baby. And we are back. Week 0 is this weekend, as we are recording this on the 24th of August.
For Mean Green.
Yeah, well, Mean Green does start their season. We do actually talk about the Mean Green more on our new podcast that all three of us are on, the Green Guys podcast. If you want to check more about, we talked about the NFL season. We broke down each individual game, offense, defense, all that stuff. So if you want to check it out, please go check out the Green Guys podcast over on Apple and Spotify.
Yeah, all your mean green goods, whether it be football, basketball, soccer, you name it, we're going to talk about it, and it's with some great people. So go check it out on Spotify, Apple, like Cullen said, wherever you get your podcasts. But
yeah.
Speaking of contracts, even though we are talking about college football, the best, I mean, I think I can pretty much say the best college football coach of all time, right?
I mean, he definitely has the resume to make that argument.
Yeah. Saban got paid.
Yeah. And Saban went from the richest to the richest. He went from more rich, or
the rich got richer.
The rich got richer.
A little bit less rich to I'm richer than you once again.
All the way to 2030, baby.
Oh, man.
2030.
And rightfully so.
I don't know how long I can deal with this Alabama stuff, dude.
I can deal with it for the rest of my life.
It's one of those things that in sports, one of the more underrated aspects is having a team to root against in a national landscape, because it gives you a chance to have like the storyline of, oh, this is the dominant,
Patriots,
Well, David Goliath scenario.
Yeah,
so like
right,
Alabama's always going to be David, and Nick Saban, is always going to coach up a really well dominant team. That's why whenever a team does knock them off, a la Georgia last year or whomever,
it's shocking.
Oh yeah, or just Deshaun Watson and Clemson way back in the day. But
man,
or if
you making me feel old, brother.
Yeah, no kidding.
Those rivalries were crazy.
Or if Alabama just wins, then we just sit in amazement, like, oh my gosh, look at all these NFL ready players. Every one of them that just started is going to be on a
every
starting
first round
roster
draft
for the
pick.
NFL.
Alabama.
Yeah.
But as Kevin mentioned, the University of the Crimson Tide is the number 1 ranked in the AP Top 25 with 54 receiving votes, both in the coaches and the AP Top 25 poll. Number 2 is Ohio State with C.J. Stroud and Ryan Day.
Ohio State.
They got
Ohio
that
State.
certified.
The Ohio State. They really need to update the website then. I'm just reading it off here.
You know how to say the name.
I know. I got a buddy who's an Ohio State fan who's going to clown me for this.
Oh, man.
And then we got, of course, the returning, defending, national champion Georgia Bulldogs at number 3. Clemson rounding out the top 4, along with Notre Dame at 5th. Boys, when you look at the official AP Top 25, what is your biggest takeaway? I think I already know Kevin's.
I'm not even gonna get to mine yet. We'll talk about all the other stuff. I don't want to be a homer yet. I want to talk about Clemson, actually.
Okay.
Clemson kind of fell off last year. I'm not even going to attempt to say their quarterback's name. Cullen?
DJ Ugalele, he's still there?
DJ Ugalele. Okay.
See how easy that was?
But I didn't want to
Ugalele with the lele.
But
there we go.
Clemson kind of had an off year, so I want to see what is making everybody say Clemson's back. Did they get a top recruit? I haven't really been keeping up with Clemson, to be honest.
Well, Clemson, so they've been the absolute pinnacle of the ACC now for, it seems like, as long as Dabo's been there.
A long, long time.
Now, he did lose Brent Venables, who is now taking over as the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners with, oh my God, their coach last year that just went to USC. Lincoln Riley. Thank you, Mr. Anthony Council. Lincoln obviously moving over to the West Coast to take over the USC program. So naturally, Clemson is going to have an interesting new look on defense this year. Might take some recruiting classes to get that defense up to stand. However, if you just look at the ACC, there isn't quite anybody I don't think that's going to be on their level. The University of Miami with Mario Cristobal going to be an interesting game. Obviously, the U. We'd all love to see the U really back in prime time.
Real quick, did y'all see that stadium that Miami is getting?
Oh, yeah.
It's bad.
It's
nice. Bad.
That's
nice.
It's
bad.
Very nice.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I saw that stadium. I was like, wow, that is crazy.
But yeah, so Clemson's still going to be talented no matter what. They're still going to have guys. They're going to be guys that maybe necessarily the national audience doesn't know, but Clemson absolutely should be a threat to the college football playoff. Absolutely.
Well, I'm looking it up. It seems like they had very good recruiting this offseason. So
Dabo's got that locked.
Yeah, he's got that on lock. So he saw that they had a tough year, and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that ever again. So we might have a lot of young guys playing for Clemson, but there's one thing we know about Clemson and Dabo Swinney is he's going to have them ready. And Clemson, I'm excited to see Clemson competing again because I love Dabo Swinney. He's such a great coach.
You know what's another team that's very sneaky?
Who do you think, Anthony?
I mean, I want to say Michigan because, Michigan, they got some dogs.
Michigan's a good one.
They got some dogs out there.
They got a bunch of khaki pants and steak eaters over there.
Ain't that the truth?
Don't mess with them either. Don't mess with them either.
But you know what? Another team that's really sneaky, that no one really talks about.
Okay.
I want to hear it.
Utah.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
okay.
So you stole my surprise team. Oh, my
Utah is a
goodness.
very sneaky team.
Yes, they are.
Their defense is elite. Their
Elite.
offense is phenomenal. Shout out to you, Braden. Big man, offensive lineman at the University of Utah. Yes, sir. We up. Anyway, but yeah, Utah is very, very sneaky. They could make a huge impact this season.
Yeah. No, we're going to we were going to talk about who potentially could make the Final Four, and Anthony had mentioned pre-show, that he had a team that he was looking at, and I also had mentioned the pre-team, and so me and Anthony are the same wavelength because I also agree. The Utah Utes. The Utes of Utah.
They on the come up.
They
I
are.
mean, do y'all think that they'll finish top 7 whenever it's all said and done?
Here's the thing. They have a very good chance of winning the Pac-12. Now, obviously,
That's not really saying much, but yeah.
But here's the thing. If they knock off a USC when they're still ranked high, an Oregon, and potentially some other teams, they could absolutely, like, if they have one loss or maybe go undefeated, sneak into that Final Four playoff spot because we already know Alabama and Georgia, they're going to be at each other's throats.
Oh, yeah.
That one of them's going to lose. And then Ohio State, we expect them to be in there. And then Clemson, again, you could argue. Notre Dame, maybe this is the year they put it all together. They do have a new first-year head coach this year, so we'll see how he looks with his new staff. Texas A&M, again, that's an SEC team, so that could be something that plugs in the fire. If Utah were to run the Pac-12, they absolutely could get that Final Four playoff spot and be somebody that plays whoever's number one in the first round of that.
I mean, they did win it last year. They did win it back in 2021.
Yeah.
So they could run it back, and I would not be surprised if they did.
Yeah. I mean, this is Oregon's first year without head coach Mario Cristobal, who, as we previously mentioned, moved to the University of Miami, and then Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley. It's their first year. Those are their two main competitors, so they've got a little bit of turnover there that they're going to be dealing with.
I don't think USC is going to be successful first year. Call it a hot take. I don't care. I don't like Lincoln Riley.
Kevin already letting his feelings known. I love it, though. Saturdays
I'll
are
actually say this.
Yeah.
Just kind of jumping into the whole Texas thing and Texas, Oklahoma, everything related. You already know. I actually like Oklahoma more with Brent Venables as their head coach.
I definitely like. Here's the thing. I like them going to the SEC with Venables.
Yes, it makes them more respectable,
I do too.
in my opinion.
Because at the end of the day, Oklahoma, they just have a history of just finding the next bright college football offensive
star.
genius.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of offensive players Oklahoma has produced in the NFL is insane. Anywhere from Adrian Peterson to Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield,
Hollywood Brown, you name
CeeDee Lamb. I mean,
yeah.
it's just ridiculous. So they're going to be fine offensively wise. I think they realize that the Big 12 isn't the SEC.
Nope.
They're going to have some transitional years, but since they're not quite in the SEC yet, might as well make that move now and try to see if Venables can really set in a culture that's going to let them survive and thrive in the SEC.
I mean, and you look at it, Texas, Oklahoma, every year we have the rivalry. Just about damn near every year, it's a shootout. It's a 50-something game. It's high scoring. It's never really any defense, and you can call that the fault of Texas, but you can also call that the fault of Oklahoma. I mean, you already kind of touched on it, but Big 12's not really that big on defensive power, I guess you could say. Brent Venables lives, breathes, and sleeps defensive power.
Yeah.
He's going to turn the organization around, and I just respect him more.
Yeah, I mean, Clemson's defense, especially that year they won the national championship. I mean, they've been consistently one of the best defensive coach teams in the country, and now that Venables is heading the helm over there at Oklahoma, this gives them the best shot to come into the SEC and be like, hey, listen, we know we're new here. We're kicking down the door, and we're here to stay.
And they feel betrayed. Oklahoma feels betrayed.
Absolutely.
Because Lincoln Riley basically said, hey, I'm not leaving. This is, I believe he was caught on record saying this is the mecca of college football.
He pulled a Kyrie.
And then left. He left, went to USC, took Caleb Williams with him, and said this is the mecca of college football. I don't believe that for a second. Prove it to me first. But Oklahoma feels disrespected. And awkwardly enough, I kind of want to see them do pretty good this year.
Yeah, and we'll see how it works. Again, it's a transitional year. They did get, was it Gabriel? Is their new starting quarterback? Dylan Gabriel, I think is his name.
Well, don't forget about General Booty.
Oh, yeah, of course. Can't forget about the booty, man.
Yes, sir.
It was going to be in there, making it a competition. We'll see. I mean, I got some friends that went to Norman, so they're obviously going to be talking about Venables and talking them up, so I'm going to, one way or another, even if I don't catch all the game, I'm going to be hearing about it.
Oh, yeah.
So
You'll hear about it.
I'll definitely.
If it ain't from them, it'll be from me too.
I'll tell you this about Lincoln Riley, though. Give that man 3 years, they are going to be consistently fighting for the college football playoff, like in that top 5 conversation.
I don't know. I guess just because I don't like the guy, I can't really like.
See, but
I understand he's talented.
Have
He
a
knows
heart,
what he's
man.
doing.
Well, no, it's not even have a heart because Kevin's all heart. Kevin loves his when he loves hard.
And when he
heart
hates, he hates.
That's what
hard,
I'm saying.
too.
We don't need him to have more heart. We need him just to be like, hey, you know what?
Have
I
some-
understand this. Logically speaking, though.
That's what I was about
Logically
to
speaking.
say.
That's what I'm saying.
Look, I get it. I don't like the guy, but he's talented. He knows what he's doing. He's under that tree of successful coaches. You're probably right. He'll probably be in that upper echelon of college football teams, but I hope not.
Wow.
So there's that.
You hope
Kevin
not.
Walker's definitely not going to be working for the Trojans anytime soon.
Hey, man, and that's in Cali.
I know.
Ooh.
Man, you really.
There's a lot of college teams to play for, and whatever you want to do in Cali, so I'm not worried about it.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
Is there anything else you guys like to add before we switch gears here?
Well, of course, I'm going to talk about Texas and
Oh
not
my
getting
goodness.
any one. No, what? Correct me if I'm wrong. They only got one number. They got one vote in the
coaches
AP 25.
And the coaches poll.
It's the coaches poll. So according to what I have pulled up right now, which is CBS NCAA college football coaches poll, it has Texas at number 18.
And that was the coaches poll. And
Coaches
then the,
poll.
And then the AP 25 came out, and
They're not there to be found whatsoever.
they are actually ranked 27th if you actually go to the complete rankings.
No, well,
So there you go.
yeah.
But
So,
yeah, no, look, Texas. The thing with Texas, right? And Kevin, you have to admit this.
it's a
'cause
prove it year.
it's not only that, but you have to understand. And again, I'm North Texas. Anthony's North Texas. Morehouse. You're the Texas guy on the show, so I understand you're going to come to the defense of the Burnt Orange. Logically speaking, Texas has not lived up to expectations with
Nope.
the level of recruiting classes that they've had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So even though, yes, they have Quinn Ewers, they are going to get Arch Manning and everything, and I understand the big names and the potential that Texas has, I can't be mad with Texas being outranked
No.
because, again, you can't sit there and give them this based on their history.
Right. And honestly, if and some people will say I'm BSing, but I'm being completely honest, I'm glad they're not ranked top 25. I'm glad because if you rank them too high, Texas fans can be really obnoxious, but Texas fans get big-headed, they get happy. They'll, this is the year. I don't even want to start with that. Give me
What
a
does
winning
that sound like, Anthony?
Give me a winning
know, right?
season. give me a winning season. I want Quinn Ewers to succeed. I want Bijan Robinson to absolutely dominate. I want our defense to finally show up. I know we're not going to be, competing in top 4. Give me a decent bowl game. Give me the year that we played Georgia in the bowl game. Give me that year. If we can have a year like that, I'll be happy.
You know why he brought that up, right?
Why?
I'm not even no.
So
no.
Mr. Sam Ellinger had a nice little speech after the game.
Oh, okay.
Texas is back.
I
No.
remember that.
Back.
If you're gonna say it, at least say it right.
Eh, well, I
We're
mean,
back.
we're back.
Yeah.
Oh my
there you go.
god.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, listen, that's Kevin likes to think, because at that time he was like, "Oh yeah, we're back, baby."
They're
We're
not gonna-
back.
They're not gonna have a Manning, right? This fall.
Not this fall, no.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they're not back yet. They're just gonna have a
Listen,
season.
Quinn Ewers though, I'm interested to see what the kid did.
I'm excited too.
Well, and I'm also excited by the fact that if Quinn Ewers doesn't work out, which I think he will, but if he doesn't, Hudson Card everyone's saying he could be a guy. And I know that's not a name that not a lot of people know, but they're saying, I don't know. I'm pretty happy where Texas is at, and I think that we can be successful this year. I just don't want to lose to Kansas again.
I get that.
I just don't want to lose to Kansas
I
again.
get that. I get that. For me, I just want to talk about the number 1 recruit out of high school, Travis Hunter.
Yeah, the former number 1 recruit. out of-
Former
yeah,
number 1. Yes.
Travis Hunter
And
and
Jackson State. Man, I don't know if you guys have seen anything Jackson State related. That team looks dangerous. Very dangerous. Like they look scary. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're gonna win they're gonna win their conference, obviously. I mean, they did lose to South Carolina last year in their bowl game, which was I'm not gonna say it was a shocker, but it was a shocker because them dogs at South Carolina, they play. They know how to ball.
Right.
But I think also Jackson State got a little big-headed because, prime time's there. Nothing against prime time. Love prime time. Love the organization. Love, supporting the HBCUs. I get that's awesome.
Right.
But we've all seen whenever you have superstars on your squad, something might happen that might just go wrong. But I really do think that they got it all together. I really do think Jackson State's going to pull it all together. I do think that they should also move to a different conference, too, because they know how to ball, and Dion has them boys ready to roll this season. Because I don't think they're losing a game this season. I just don't. I just do not.
Anthony living up to his moniker, hot take master over here.
Look, man,
No
Travis Hunter is a dog.
Yeah, he's gonna play potentially both sides of the ball.
I guarantee he will.
Yeah.
Guarantee he will.
Especially being coached by Deion Sanders of all,
Yeah.
I mean, but if you see any film on him, it is insane what he does to his opponents. Like on both sides, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Check out Jackson State football and just watch how he plays.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
I think Dion said it best. He came out and he said that we're not ready for Bama this year. Just give us maybe 1 or 2 more years, and we could potentially compete with them. They need to get some offensive linemen. They need to get some more athletes. But I would be very interested to see the rise of HBCUs. I'd be very much for that storyline.
of course.
We've talked about a lot of football here. We got some other sports we got to get into. One of them being on the diamond with Major League Baseball and a potential selling of a Major League Baseball team.
Uh-oh.
But this ain't the Washington Nationals we're talking about.
No, this is speaking of California from previous Los Angeles Angels owner Arte Moreno said Tuesday he is exploring the possibility of selling the franchise, a move that surprised superstar slugger Mike Trout, and it was welcomed by Hall of Famer Rod Carew. He purchased the team for $184 million in 2003, a year after they won their first World Series championship. They were originally in Anaheim. They moved to Los Angeles, obviously. They haven't made the postseason since 2014 and haven't had a winning season since 2015, even with the likes of Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Boys, what is y'all's reaction?
You can't keep wasting one of the best baseball players of all time. Mike Trout is on the end of his career, and it's absolutely going to wait. It makes me so sad to see. And now we have Shohei Ohtani doing what he does, and he's like, hey, if we're not going to win, why am I even here? Like, move me.
Right.
But they're not going to. Get somebody in there who cares. Get somebody in there who's going to change the culture. The Angels have had talent and have had the opportunity to be good for so long and just haven't. I'm excited to see what can happen after this, though.
They just can't put it together. It's as simple as can be. They just can't put it together.
We had Leighton Prater, our former KNTU companion, on the show, and he said it best. They're a cursed franchise.
Yeah,
I think I'm fully convinced of it at this point. Obviously, Kevin, you being a Rangers fan, me a Mariners fan, like we've seen the Angels up close and personal in our division for years now.
I've seen Cole Calhoun absolutely tear us up.
Yeah. I mean,
night in, night out.
The contracts that they've signed, Anthony Rendon, they signed Josh Hamilton back in the day, and there's one other that I'm forgetting that was pretty egregious. But it just seems like they just can't stop getting in their own way. And I think the owner was probably feeling a little bit of pressure from it and maybe realized he could also make a smart business decision, and he's likely going to sell it. He's 76 years old. So, he's definitely got time to enjoy his life, do whatever he wants. But, yeah, it just doesn't surprise me at all. I'm hopefully whoever takes it over.
I think it's just time.
Yeah, hopefully the Angels fans, they deserve better than this.
I don't know if it's a smart business move. You're just creating more drama for your cursed franchise.
Well, he's not going to get part of it.
Yeah,
I get it. I get that.
He's kind of wiping his hands.
Right.
But it's just like you could have done this when the season was over.
And he's not going to sell it. Well, I guess he could sell it midseason or plan to sell it midseason, but reports are going to get out regardless. If you're shopping the team, the reports are going to get out. The Nationals did it. They got rid of Juan Soto.
Right.
I'm sure, there's other teams, but yeah, it doesn't really surprise me coming out midseason. Plus, we're kind of in the back end of the season, and the Angels aren't looking good and haven't looked good, so
for a minute,
it doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I do agree with what you're saying about they're wasting talent. Like, their talent's going to be gone if they wanted to. Like,
how often you get Mike Trout, a player of their calibers, of Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the same team?
How often do you get one of the best, just all-around baseball players of all time, and then get a six-tool baseball player that can pitch lights out and then turn around and maybe have a multi-home run game and still lose?
And MVP.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, it baffles me.
It just
It
doesn't
hurts.
make sense.
It hurts.
It hurts.
It does.
Well, I think we've beat up on the Angels enough. Let's switch gears here because we have been talking about the Angels, but there's some other teams in the American League that we deserve to talk about. The Houston Astros, since the last time we've done a podcast, have overtaken the New York Yankees atop the American League. They currently hold a 3-game advantage over the Yankees. Now, granted, both teams have a first-round bye. And in the National League, the Los Angeles Dodgers currently are the top team in the National League with a 7.5-game advantage over the New York Mets in the NL. So, my question is to you, my fellow co-hosts. With everything going on, with baseball postseason right around the corner, what is something that has really caught your eye since the last time we have talked some Major League Baseball?
You know what's funny? I love how in the beginning of like the baseball season, it was like preseason.
Yep.
And it was like before any baseball even happened. And we were talking about the Dodgers. And Tyler was here, big Dodgers fan.
Yeah,
and we're
course.
like,
Layton too. Yep.
all them superstars on one team. Man, we've seen what the Lakers have done in La La Land. We don't know if they're gonna do anything. It's maybe just
You might have said that. I did not say that. You might have said that.
anyway. Like I was saying,
I never
it's
doubted
like
the
it's like
Dodgers.
it's like all them superstars on the team. We don't know what's gonna happen. It could end up bad, but they're looking pretty solid.
I mean, they have the best record in the majors right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they looking pretty good. Now we'll see what happens in postseason.
Yeah.
But they looking pretty good right now.
Now, I'm lucky. Well, for Dodgers fans, they are really lucky that they are so deep because they're starting ace Walker Buehler is out for the rest of the season.
They have gotten a little bit of an injury bug lately because didn't Clayton Kershaw get an injury?
Yeah, well, I mean, because Dustin May also recently came back. I mean, they've just been. It seems like hobbling, but because they're so deep and so well, with their minor league system, they've done so well. They've been able to ride the wave and thrive throughout this chaos. And I mean, I had the Dodgers. You mentioned it, Anthony. Preseason, I had the Dodgers as the favorite to win the World Series. Right now, I'm feeling pretty good, but that team in Houston, man,
They scary, man.
But-
they're looking real good right now.
Everybody had their predictions for the Dodgers, but did anybody predict that Joey Gallo was going to be on that team, though?
The curse of Gallo.
I don't think so.
As a Rangers
Honestly.
fan, I actually love that Joey Gallo's being successful on a team. I didn't think he was going to work out for the Yankees. I just didn't think that team was for him. I love to see him being successful for the Dodgers. I think Gallo has always been a great player with great potential, just hasn't really been in the right environment, winning culture to do it. If you want to go to a winning culture in the right environment, the Dodgers are definitely the place to do it. I'm pretty happy for Joey Gallo, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Especially if you're in a system that just may not fit for you. Yeah, the Dodgers is like the best one to be in if you want to play winning baseball.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm looking at the potential postseason predictions as if the series were to obviously start today. Now, obviously, there could be some changes, but the Dodgers and the Mets would obviously receive the bye in the National League, with the Cardinals and the Padres playing in one wild card round, with the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies playing in the next one. In the American League, the Houston Astros, New York Yankees would obviously receive the bye. The Cleveland Guardians would be playing, I don't even want to say their name, the Seattle Mariners in the postseason.
Dun dun dun.
And then Toronto Blue Jays would be taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. At this moment, if the season were to end today, those would be the matchups.
If the Yankees don't quit losing, that is.
I mean, they've slipped. Don't get me wrong. They've absolutely slipped, but I still think they're very talented. They obviously have the pieces. They just haven't been quite hitting on all cylinders like they were, at the beginning of the season. But, I mean, Anthony brought it up that, I mean, we need to see it in the postseason for the Yankees. I mean, they've had one World Series
That is the story. Yeah.
in the past, was it 20 years?
That is the story.
Because it was 2009.
I mean,
they
you
won their last
can't
one.
waste the season that Aaron Judge is having. We're talking about.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't want to jinx it because baseball's all about jinxing and knocking. You don't want to jinx it. Aaron Judge he's not close yet, but he's up there.
Right.
He's up there, and he has. I believe I saw a stat going into the All-Star break or going into some week. He had a certain amount of home runs. I think it was when he had 44. I want to say.
Yeah.
And it was he reached the home runs of 40. I'm bringing this all together. Aaron Judge reached 44 home runs about the same time as Babe Ruth,
Yep.
Roger Maris,
Yep.
and Barry Bonds and the others
Right.
at the same time. You don't find yourself in that kind of company unless you're on the unless you're on the way to breaking some records. I'm really excited because this could get really interesting.
I did see the other day, because I think he's at 47, unless he hit another one recently.
I'll look it up for you.
He's on pace, I think, to hit 62.
Yeah, because it was 66 going into All-Star break.
Yeah, and then he's kind of slowed down since then. So I think it's 62. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, you're absolutely right. You can't waste the season if you are the New York Yankees with the hot start that you had. You're going to get the first round bye. Like, the Yankees need to capitalize on this. And, of course, I mean, obviously with the Astros, the history that they have there, I mean, that's going to be a fairly emotional series if those two ever do meet in the ALCS. But, yeah, if I'm the Yankees, like, I don't know what kind of, pep talk or movie locker room speech I need to give. But if I'm the Yankees, yeah, I need to make sure that when we get to October, we're locked in, ready to go.
Yeah, it shows Judge has 48.
Okay, so he just hit another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you say that they're losing. They did beat the Blue Jays. They did beat the Mets twice, and they're playing against the Athletics.
Right.
So, I mean, and they did tie the series against the Mets, too.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, they've been on a rough patch. I mean, here and there. I mean, they won one game against the Blue Jays in that like 4-game series.
Mm-hmm.
But I think beating the Mets is really big. And I don't know if you guys saw the interview with the head coach for the New York Yankees. They want to be at the end.
Yeah.
The very end.
They do.
And I'm not saying anything else about the Yankees till they make it to the end. So
if they do.
If they do.
True. Well, and speaking of the Mets, I'm just glad Jacob deGrom is back in baseball.
You mentioned the Mets too, and I'm glad you brought that up. Does anyone have a better entrance?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we talked about it, dude.
to just anything, whether it's walking up to the plate, whether it's entering an NBA game, whether it's entering the NFL stadium. Edwin Diaz's freaking entrance,
legendary.
Bump. I wish I
How
could do a
can you
trumpet.
not perform great whenever you hear that?
Like it's so electric. I mean, you see fans doing it.
Yeah.
Variations of it. It gets the crowd involved, and I mean, he's arguably the best relief pitcher in baseball, and he's absolutely killing it for them. He's a big part of why they're
definitely would not stop doing it if I was them.
Right, and I mean, they currently have a game and a half over the Atlanta Braves, not only in their division but for second in the in the National League. Very interested to see what they do because again, the Mets. We've heard the jokes over the years and. I think it would be good for them to finally, see what they can do in the postseason. But, of course, in the National League, there are some teams that have been superseding expectations, and then there are teams that kind of lived up to some, or at least for some of us. And one of those teams is the San Diego Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. apologizes for mistakes after his PED suspension that will suspend him 80 games. He will also be undergoing shoulder surgery for a previously previous issue that he's been dealing with. He tested positive for clostebol, or how do you pronounce that? I apologize.
I just know it's some form of PED that the MLB has under their system, but what he's saying is that he had a ringworm, and then he was using some kind of treatment from ringworm, and it had some type of PED in it, and so they're suspending him 80 games, like you said, the rest of this season, and then a little bit going into the next. So even though you signed once, or I guess you haven't really signed Juan Soto yet, but even though you got Juan Soto,
yeah, traded for him.
Yeah, it's not really going to be the Padres' year yet.
Yeah, and it was really a shame because they were looking to make a push. I mean, obviously they've got potential future locked up if they get Soto re-signed and everything, but yeah, this was going to be a potential really interesting team in the wild card round that could make some noise with the level of talent that they acquired. And even with this, the Soto trade, Tatis obviously not being back in the lineup, they didn't look so hot. And you've kind of down spiraled a little bit. They did have to trade away some of their key pieces in order to get Juan Soto. I still think it was the correct decision to trade. I don't think we've talked about the trade since we've done the podcast and everything, but the Padres are really set for the future if they rebuild their farm system and they get their pitching and everything situated under order. But Tatis, he just needs to, have his head down. He needs to be out of the spotlight. He needs to be grinding, taking care of himself, obviously, with the shoulder surgery, but really come back and show why he's one of baseball's young, bright stars, because this was such a gut punch to everyone that supports baseball and the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, this was not a good image for him. This was not good. I mean, I'm glad that he held himself accountable. Like, there's no excuses, period. Like, I don't care. Like, there's no excuses. This is not good for baseball at all. Like no one wants to see that, especially after you just got traded there. It's like, come on, man.
Well,
But,
it wasn't him. It was Soto that just got traded there.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
But at the end of the day, speaking of Junior, I mean, like, there's no excuses. I mean,
Right.
come on now. You've been in the league for how long?
He's been in it for a couple of years now. I mean, he's still trying to, like, yeah, I mean, he's still young. He's still got time to, like, really make his mark and change his image. But so much, he's lost so many games due to either injury or just stuff that he's, dumbfoundedly done. And hopefully now this will be the big reset, the big, mind change that he needs. But I'm really hoping he fixes it.
I don't know if this is the first time something has happened to him or not, but I hope this is a wake-up call for him because, like you're a young star. This is not a good image for you. I'm glad he's holding himself accountable and he knows that he did the wrong thing, like point blank, period.
Right.
But like you said, keep your head down, grind, show out next season, even though you're not going to be there for the start of the season.
Right.
It's going to be a little bit later. But, just grind and we'll see you next season. See what happens.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of, looking forward to next season, the Formula One has a little break during between where they take a little summer break in between.
I'm sorry. Before that, I just want to give a shout out to all the little leaguers out there that are playing the Little League World Series.
Yes.
Please go watch the
Little League World Series and the softball World Series as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Texas actually won the softball World Series.
That's
the state of Texas.
That's
yes,
freaking
they did.
dope.
Yes, they did. So check out the Little League World Series. It's going on right now on ESPN. Go watch it. Go support it.
Yeah.
They be hitting dingers, bruh. Okay,
Bro.
that's all I want to say.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it. I'm sorry.
No, the evolution of the average 12-year-old is insane.
It's crazy.
I love
really
their what is it? Their icons or whatever.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I love that too. But as Anthony mentioned, make sure you check that out because that is one of the best things on sports right now in the month of August. But another thing that's about to be back on our television screens is Formula One. Summer break is over. There are going to be 3 races back-to-back, starting with the Spa-Francorchamps Grand Prix in Belgium. Obviously, we're going to see if Red Bull can still dominate, if Charles Leclerc and Ferrari can fix whatever the heck's going on over there for the team in red. Mercedes, how much progress have they made in their push to try to get back to the front? But I think we have to start about the biggest storyline from the summer break. Kevin, do you want to jump into it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess since it's my team, I'll go ahead and talk about it. But McLaren, it had been rumored reports. Obviously, we haven't been able to talk about it on the show, but there had been rumored reports that Oscar Piastri, Formula 2 phenom and Formula 1 reserve driver for Alpine, there had been talks with him and McLaren about maybe having a roster spot next year, having a seat. But, of course, this all comes after Alpine announces that. Well, I guess we should start from step one, which is
you got to go all the way back.
Yeah, you got to go all the way back. Now that I'm thinking about it, Sebastian Vettel announces he's retiring from Formula One.
Of formerly, well, soon to be formerly of Aston Martin.
Yeah, of course. And then, so there's a roster spot available.
Fernando Alonso.
Yes, Fernando Alonso takes that spot. And then shortly after, Alpine announces that Oscar Piastri, who is the reserve driver, is going to take that seat. And then Oscar Piastri jumps on to his social medias to announce that is not true. And that he is not going to be driving for Alpine and that he is still an
flat out denied it.
Yeah, literally just said not true whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, he could have just denied the reports being like, oh, whatever. He flat out said, I have not signed and I am not driving for them next year.
Yeah, so that was kind of a done relationship, done deal kind of thing. And then shortly after, you see, I probably would say one of the more lovable drivers in Formula One, Alex Albon, get a contract. He re-signs with Williams, so maybe he thinks something's going on over there, but that's for a whole nother discussion.
Right.
So you have a seat available in Alpine, but after Oscar Piastri denies his contract or whatever with Alpine, McLaren announces, or McLaren didn't really say anything, but there was reports that they had plans to make Oscar Piastri their driver alongside Lando Norris for the 2023 season. Nothing was official for a long time. This has kind of been swirling around, rumored here or there, on whether Daniel Ricciardo was going to leave or if he was going to stay, because ultimately he had all the leverage. And coming out actually today, Daniel Ricciardo and the McLaren team have mutually agreed to part ways after the 2022 season. And nothing has been said as far as Oscar Piastri goes for the season or for the upcoming season, but it is all but for sure that he will have the seat alongside Lando Norris for the 2023 season. But as much as I love to see winning and everything, and Lando Norris did a lot of that for us, but you can't. It hurts to see Daniel Ricciardo go. He's kind of like your Boban in the NBA, just lovable guy. You can't hate him.
I'm about to say from a lovability, not in terms of a talent base.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
But it sucks to see because he showed so much talent so early.
Yeah, former 8-time race winner. He delivered McLaren's only race win in the past decade.
Yeah, and it's just it hurts. It's tough to see, but whether it's just the communication between him and McLaren weren't there to give him the right car or just what have you, just kind of struggled to come with points all the time. It sucks to see. I hope he can go on whatever the next phase of his life is going to be. It sucks we're losing him because I loved watching Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris and all the drivers react and interact with Daniel Ricciardo. Mr. Shuey, whatever you want to call him. I mean, he's had an impact on F1 one way or the other, but I'm excited for what McLaren's going to be able to accomplish in the future.
Yeah, the Honey Badger is officially not driving for the Papaya team next year.
Yeah.
Papaya.
But hey, it is kind of just like the Renault situation where he announced that, hey, this thing's ain't working out, and then he just kind of balls out and then just starts doing really well. But I hope things end well between him and McLaren. I don't think I'm quite ready to see him be gone from the Formula One world.
Well, so here's what I will say. In terms of McLaren's side, Ricciardo is looking to potentially get a buyout in upwards of 21 million. I believe it's euros or dollars, whatever the increment that they use over there. He's going to get his money. So in that part, not that he hasn't made money throughout his Formula One career, but he's going to get paid for this. Like you said, it all but confirms Oscar Piastri is going to be the other driver in the McLaren seat for the 2023 season and beyond. McLaren does look to have a better team with the facility upgrades that they have been adding. They hope to really be competitive and potentially fight for multiple race wins, rumoredly in 2024. And Ricciardo, I think he's still talented. There was a confirmed report that Haas team principal Gunther Steiner reached out to potentially gauge Ricciardo's interest.
Yep.
Obviously, Alpine with Piastri potentially leaving to McLaren obviously also has an open seat. There's also been rumored reports from, I believe it was AlphaTauri and Williams potentially for Ricciardo.
There's going to be a lot of interest.
Right. And I still think he provides a lot of introspective into the sport, a lot of experience, obviously being the 8-time race winner that we mentioned. I'm not worried for Daniel. Obviously, his crazy F1 Formula career has taken so many turns over the years. He's one of the great personalities of the sport. And one of the things he mentioned in that video that you mentioned is that he still has the fire. Still the will to compete. And he still wants to continue driving. So that was, I think, the best news that came out of that video. Oscar Piastri, the last thing I'll say about him, in consecutive years, before this year, obviously, that he had, because he's been a reserve driver, Formula Renault champion, Formula 3 champion, Formula 2 world champion. He is the diamond blue chip prospect that has not yet entered the Formula One sport. Very excited, as you should be for a McLaren fan, to see his progress and to really challenge Lando Norris and propel them hopefully towards the top runners of the field. But speaking of the top runners, they're going to be competing along with all the other teams this weekend at Spa-Francorchamps. Now, obviously, last year, this race, well, let's put it this way, it wasn't a race. They completed 2 laps and was rained out of the session, never got back on the track. Basically, if you qualified in a high position, that's where you finished. George Russell got his first podium officially in Formula One Spa last year, and there has been rumored rain this weekend. But, Kevin, knocking on wood here, this race, I know because you're officially really diving into Formula One this year.
Oh yeah, I'm in. I've watched every race. If I haven't been able to watch it, I've listened to it. I've been keeping up.
Yeah, no, Spa it's going to be a game changer. They've resurfaced some parts of the track to make it more grippier, if that's even a word, grippier.
Just made it.
Yeah, exactly. what are your general thoughts going in to the Belgian Grand Prix?
Well, not just even the Belgian Grand Prix, but just the second half of the season. I'm very excited. You got Ferrari that has all the opportunity and all the expectations in the world to take Formula One by storm, especially with Charles Leclerc having the year that he's having. And we gotta see some consistency out of them. And even whether if you want to say Max is gonna walk away with the win for Red Bull or whatever, there still hasn't been a lot of consistency for Max either, or Red Bull. I mean, when you think about it, the top two teams being...
I mean, early in the season, yeah, I would have agreed with you, but as of late, Max has been as lights out of a driver as I can remember. Like, he's got a definite shot of potentially breaking the single race win record in Formula One for a season.
Then maybe I'm thinking more off to the beginning of the season. I just know there's been a lot of issues, not necessarily driver issues, but car issues for both Ferrari, mainly Ferrari, but also a little bit of Red Bull too. But I really want to see what Mercedes can do. I know we kind of talked a little earlier on a different sports topic about your David and Goliath situation. It's very easily said that Mercedes was they were the big dog. Yeah, they were the big dog for a while.
Yeah, 8 straight consecutive constructor championships.
But I think everybody's kind of to the point now where we want to see Lewis Hamilton really prove, not necessarily prove. He has nothing to prove.
No.
Literally nothing to prove. But just kind of want to see him win again, I guess, if that makes any sense.
He is not, since he entered Formula One back in, I believe it was 2007.
He won at least one race every year.
Exactly. And he has strung, consistent amount of podiums. They have been climbing closer to Red Bull and Ferrari's pace. Now, granted, I still think Charles and Max are about 2 to 3 tenths faster a lap than Mercedes. But we'll see what adjustments, because they're still fully all in on this season, like potentially trying to improve their car, trying to see how close they can get to the front. It'll be interesting to see, if Max and Charles, get competitive, maybe take each other out, who could potentially win that race. Because if you go back to Silverstone, granted, Charles had a little bit of wing damage. Max obviously had the floor damage. Lewis was potentially looking like he could potentially challenge the Ferraris to win the race before the safety car. So I definitely think Lewis and Mercedes, George Russell,
I was going to say, do not forget about George Russell.
Yeah, no, they've definitely got a shot to compete for more podiums and potentially more race wins. But I still think, barring anything that we haven't seen, now obviously like practice sessions and quali, we'll see this weekend. We'll see how close they could be. But I still think Charles and Max, rightfully so, should be the main two focus targets on who potentially could win a race this upcoming for the rest of the season.
Who do you think finishes in 4? Who do you think's 4?
4 as in
constructors. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So between Alpine and McLaren.
I mean, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of who it's up to right now.
Well, so the standings is Alpine's currently 4th at 99, McLaren's 5th at 95. Alfa Romeo's got 50 or is at 51, so they've got a little bit of a gap to go. But if I think Alpine's just more consistent. Like Fernando Alonso is driving out of his mind at age 40. Esteban Ocon has been more consistent of a driver than Daniel Ricciardo has.
Yeah, they get double points a lot more than we do.
Yeah, and Lando Norris, while he's been driving his absolute heart out, I mean, unless Daniel can really show up this back half of the season,
it's kind of a one-man show.
Yeah, I mean, he's fighting with one arm tied behind his back, and McLaren's definitely fighting an uphill battle because that Alpine car is very competitive, especially for McLaren in the top of the midfield.
And you said Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo's actually been doing, I think, better than a lot of people suspected.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the Ferrari engine, I think, really adjusted well to the rankings, and I think that was a big part of it. Obviously, Valtteri Bottas, his experience and his just straight up qualifying pace has put them in a lot of good positions. I think he even got like a P5 earlier in the year, so that really helped them. But yeah, I think Zhou too has been a really outstanding rookie as well, being the only rookie on the calendar this year. Yeah, I've really liked what Alfa Romeo's done.
And Nicholas Latifi has got to be gone after this year, right?
I barring him just going on an unforeseen run in the back half of the season.
I'm sorry, go Tifi.
Go Tifi.
Yeah,
absolutely.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Aston Martin, they've announced that they've shut down their car, looking towards next season, developing next season's car. I would expect them to still potentially try to get some, 9th or 10th place finishes. But yeah,
So what does that mean? I guess I've never heard that. Does that just mean they're not going to put any more funding into the car this
Exactly,
year and
this year.
putting everything into next year?
exactly. So basically, there's a cap right now in Formula One starting this year where you can like invest your resources. Now you can develop them into the current car, or you can develop them into next year's car, which Aston Martin's deciding to do. I mean, they've got 20 points. They're 17 ahead of Williams for 10th and 7 behind AlphaTauri. They're not really competing anything there. I mean, Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel have to drive their hearts out in order for them just to even have a chance at points. They realize their car's not good. I mean, it hasn't been good all year. So I think it's a smart decision for them. I wouldn't be surprised if more teams, AlphaTauri, Williams, if Williams hasn't announced already, I haven't seen anything from them, but and maybe even Haas start to focus more on next year in the next coming weeks announcing it. So yeah, that's for sure. Anything else on the Formula One stuff you want to talk about?
Nothing that I can think of right now. Just kind of excited to see how things shake up.
Fair enough. Well, we are going to take it over to our last, let's say, sports subsection of the day. We're taking it over to the association. I don't know if you guys heard this name before, but there's a certain superstar named Kevin Durant.
Oh, he played at Texas or something, right?
Yeah, and he, former two-time
No
Finals
one really
MVP.
remembers that part though.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I definitely do.
Definitely played.
Thank you for rejoining us, Anthony. I know you like to take the Formula One topics as just like a mental cool down break, so we appreciate you chiming in there.
I gotta save my energy.
Run, go get your coffee, use the
Absolutely.
restroom.
Absolutely.
Get my Celsius drink.
Now it's Celsius. Hey, yeah, you're on the wave, man.
Hey, man.
It's good. But Kevin Durant, who has been the big talk of the sports world throughout the NBA offseason, recently met with Brooklyn owner Joe Tsai, Steve Nash, and GM Sean Marks to inform the team that he's officially all back in with the Nets for this upcoming season. Kyrie Irving, also the Nets announced that they are not going to be trading either one of those superstars, running it back with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons.
Now Ben Simmons.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now the Ben Simmons is, Ben Simmons wasn't going anywhere.
It's kind of like the Daniel Ricciardo thing. You kind of got to take this all the way back.
Exactly. So
I mean, this has been
it's been crazy, 100%.
54 days since KD has requested his trade.
Absolutely. And Durant now officially back with the Brooklyn Nets. Guys, what are y'all's thoughts on the biggest NBA offseason season?
This is so dumb.
I think I saw something on ESPN. I think because I watch Sports Center Snapchat. So basically, Kevin Durant has agreed to stay on the contract that he agreed to.
Yeah.
No, I think that's basically just.
Oh yeah,
but say that and it's just kind of like.
Oh yeah, he had signed a 4-year deal already. What was he gonna do? Like
this was like 4 years, $200 million or something like that. I think I heard.
Look, 4 words. This is so dumb.
Please explain, Anthony.
This is so dumb. Where were you going? You signed a 4-year deal.
4-year, $194 million.
Where were you going?
Yep.
Who's gonna trade you? Who's actually gonna trade you?
Well, I
get it.
Well,
everybody wants to trade you. I understand.
Trade for you.
Yeah, trade for you. Bro, you're the best player in the world.
Giannis might have something to say about that, but okay.
That's true, especially that jump shot. That's it's looking like butter now.
Well, I mean, I hate to be a homer, but if Luka Doncic can add a hook shot,
all right, enough Dallas Mavericks talk. That's enough.
That was one bit of it,
and that's enough.
You're the
that's enough.
That's okay.
We let you rant about Texas today. Well, I'm not letting you bring the Mavericks into this discussion.
Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. Like who's gonna tell me another 7-footer that besides the next draft class, which is going to be very exciting.
Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, we can get into that later. But anyways. You're literally one of the best players to ever play the game. Right. I get everybody wants you, but bro, you already signed a contract. Like, bro, you're stuck. I'm sorry. At least give him 1 year.
Yeah.
Give him 2 years. I mean, with that roster, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry. I mean, you got Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
I mean, they're one of the best skilled teams in the league right now, like on paper and on the court. If y'all can just come together and put it all together, you guys could possibly make it to the finals.
I mean, they would definitely be a contender, obviously, with that level of talent. The thing is they just haven't been able to put it all together. I mean, ever since Durant and Kyrie came there, they've won a grand total of 1 playoff series. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, we got to see it. And I mean, we've seen Kevin Durant do it before. We all know about what Kyrie's postseason history is. This has got to be a complete effort rehaul, because I mean they've been the biggest talking point in the NBA for the past, I think, Kevin, you said 50 plus days. This is something that they've got to completely change the narrative. They got to refocus themselves, completely buy in. And now that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are now being confirmed to return to the team, I'm very interested to see how this team looks going forward. They obviously did sign some, key role players. I think they traded for Royce O'Neal from Utah. They signed TJ Warren, former bubble,
superstar.
Yeah, superstar for real. And we're going to see how this Brooklyn Nets team looks this upcoming year with all the turmoil with Steve Nash and Sean Marks, how they're going to respond to press conferences and everything. They're definitely a contender for sure, but they were easily the biggest story of the offseason.
It makes sense. I mean, you guys got swept by Boston. Like, you guys didn't win one game by Boston. Y'all were playing with your heads cut off like y'all was chickens. Like literally, you guys didn't do anything. I really want Kyrie Irving's next contract to have a little bit of like just red ink on it that says have to come to every game.
Show up to work.
Yes.
Show up to work.
Show up to work. Yes, that's it. I don't care if you play. I don't care if you just sit on the bench. Right. Show up to work, period.
Kevin, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Kevin, if you want to give your thoughts into this. I know you've been sitting on the sidelines a little bit.
I mean, I guess it's just kind of like, if you think about whenever the big three were really able to play with each other and Kevin Durant was really able to hone his abilities as a Brooklyn Net against Milwaukee, however, feels like kind of forever ago, to be honest, whenever Milwaukee won it all, but they really went literally toe-to-toe with Milwaukee.
They did.
I don't know. I just don't know what
they forced a Game 7.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know what
Brooklyn. They forced a Game 7 against Milwaukee.
No, but who?
What?
Who was on Brooklyn? Who was playing for Brooklyn?
I mean, it was a beat of James Harden. It was Kyrie Irving for like 2 games,
and Kevin Durant was going off.
Kevin Durant. Yeah.
So really, just 2 players.
I mean, yeah, they
really not a big 3.
I think Blake Griffin was on that team. They had
they had Marcus Aldridge too. Remember?
Yeah, they did.
Forgot that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like a while. Like I said, hopefully we want to see the best of the best compete in sports. I mean, it's one of the many reasons why we tune in to watch the NBA. And hopefully now that things are going to be back into the fold, I'll be the first to admit, I know Anthony was very clear that he didn't think Kevin Durant was going to get traded. I thought he was for sure. I thought the trade package was absolutely insane. Now, again, if things go wrong again this year, we could be having the same discussion for all of next offseason. But for right now, I think it's the best for all parties involved moving forward to see, hey, listen, it's Kyrie Irving's last year of his deal. Kevin Durant's back. We'll see what Ben Simmons looks like after all the rest he's had and see how far they can take this thing.
Kyrie might be out of here after this year.
Well, I don't think there's a doubt about that one.
Kyrie might be in LA next year.
Absolutely. But that's for speculation. We can't wait to see the NBA season back. Unfortunately, someone who might have to wait a little bit for the NBA season to start is Oklahoma City Thunder rookie Chet Holmgren, the number 2 overall pick, is being evaluated for potential torn foot ligaments, that he suffered during a crossover Pro-Am game in Seattle, Washington. Devastating injury for the Thunder. Anthony, please take it away.
Wait, so you're telling me he got crossed over?
Oh my goodness, it did not get crossed
that's
over.
Tough. He got his ankles broken because he's so skinny. Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think I would walk up to any 7-foot large man that can.
Well, unless you're LeBron James, who was the one he was going at when he defended the play.
Yeah.
So you saying LeBron James crossed him? Oh,
he didn't.
That's tough.
He did not cross him over. Oh my goodness.
We know LeBron
Chet got his ankles broken.
I wish there was a womp 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 button I can hit right now, Anthony. That joke was terrible.
Yeah, that was really bad.
That was. Oh, come on.
Come on. This is
who
LeBron
else
James.
is gonna bring the energy? Come on now.
100%. But we do wish the best for Chet Holmgren. Obviously, we'll wait to see what the official timeline is for his injury. Because Oklahoma City Thunder, they've got a lot of interesting pieces with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Poku, the
other 7-footer.
Yeah, the other 7-footer, exactly. So we'll see what news comes out. And to wrap up some NBA basketball talk, we're actually going to be taking it over to the EuroLeague with Anthony Council, giving us a little breakdown about what's going on over on the other side of the world.
Now, everybody better be, I don't care, everybody in the NBA better be looking at the Greece team, because the way Giannis Antetokounmpo is shooting,
they almost have a full team of Antetokounmpos.
They do.
They're one shot, right?
One shot. Yeah,
one
shot. Because the way, I don't know if you've seen it, but his percentages have been slowly creeping up from the 3-point line. And the way he's shooting the ball, remember how when he would shoot the ball, he would like grab the ball and his arms would be out and he'd like grab it and like try
He'd
to
gather himself.
It's like he was like trying to like gently hold an egg.
Yeah. Like he was
But like that's
try-
how he's shooting the basketball.
Yeah. Now, oh, man, it's
he's
looking,
letting that thing fly.
it's looking like butter, very slowly. And I'm like, and he's only 27 right now, in his prime. Yeah, people better watch out. They better watch out. But that Luka Doncic versus Jokic battle, that was incredible. Oh my goodness, that was an incredible battle. I mean, I gotta say Luka took the better. Of him. But I mean, because
Luka's better than Jokic. I think that's a unanimous on this show at least.
Just more agile.
But
scores more.
I mean, 2-time MVP. I'm just saying, like, Jokic is a 2-time MVP. I'm not gonna say he's better than Luka, but I mean, he is a 2-time MVP. Wait until Luka gets the MVP, then we can have the conversation. But
Fine for change.
But I mean, Luka Doncic is looking a lot better. He's looking a lot healthier. He's looking a lot leaner, and I guarantee he got some advice from Jokic just because they both are literally like, I'm not saying they're in the prime of their life, but they look like they're in the best shape they've been in a long time.
I'm just so glad that we're talking about EuroLeague basketball due to the fact that the competition in Europe, I mean, it's getting better.
It's crazy.
We briefly mentioned the kid from France that's going to be coming over soon. We mentioned Luka. We mentioned Giannis. We mentioned Jokic. Like a lot of these guys that are, top of the NBA, these aren't role players now. They're coming over from non-United States countries, and they are balling.
Oh, yeah. They're taking the cake. They're being that guy. I mean, Joel Embiid, you name it.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully, we see more talent coming from all over the world because the Olympics has been a landslide for us. And it would just be nice to just see some competitive games just for the viewing pleasure other than just being able to, kind of blindly just bet USA and just know it's a safe bet. Because, I mean, it would make...
Not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, last year, don't get me wrong, the U.S. definitely got a wake-up call. For sure.
If France had Victor, it would be very tough to say that the United States would win.
Yeah. So it'd be him, Gobert. I think Batum's still on there. Is he still a national? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so they've got some players that they could definitely compete.
Because if you got Victor on the wing and you got Gobert as the center, and Victor shooting threes, man. I mean, look, I don't even know if KD can really guard him like that. I'm just saying. I mean, I say he's the best, but like Victor's 7'3".
Yeah,
with like a 7 foot, almost 8 foot wingspan who can shoot the three with ease.
Yeah, yeah. We gotta get a tank line for Victor Wembanyama.
A tank
line. You know those like tank.
Yeah.
We gotta get.
It's a short one.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I don't know. Get sick for Vic. I don't know. Something.
Look. They're definitely NBA teams are definitely gonna be tanking for Victor
for the possibility of drafting
for sure
the next potential demigod NBA player.
Yes.
Well, boys. That was a hell of a show.
It was.
You got anything else before I take us out of here?
Be nice, eat your vegetables, and watch some more sports because it's heating up. And you know what fall means? It's about to heat up real quick.
Absolutely. Kevin, you got anything?
I would like to say check out the Green Guys podcast. Obviously, you're listening to the Fools on Stools if you made it this far. So thank you for doing so. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter, Twitter,
all
Instagram, all of our social medias. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We love y'all.
Yeah. From myself, my co-host Anthony Council, and Kevin Walker, this has been the Fools on Stools podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, whatever you got to do. And as always, take care. Grab a stool and be a fool.
Peace.